I'm Anthony Zanni here with the A to Z podcast. I'm here with my guest, Mike Hampton. He's the head baseball coach at St. John's University. Go Red Storm. How we doing, Mike?
Doing fine, Anthony. Thank you
Of
for
course.
having me.
No, of course. So I wanted to, you fascinate me. St. John's fascinates me. I mean, I actually had a scholarship going back. This is 2001, 2002, something along those lines. I didn't wind up going there, but I kind of wish I did. I don't think you were there at that point in time, right? You were playing baseball at that time?
I actually was. I actually got there in August of 2001. So
Oh,
if it
wow.
was in 2001 or 2002, then yes, I was there.
That's amazing. So we might have crossed paths way back when. So
Yes, yes.
take me through your life a little bit. You born in Germany, is that right?
Yeah, my father was military. He was in the Air Force for 26 years. So we traveled around quite a bit. I was born in Germany on an Air Force base, Ramstein Air Force Base. Before I graduated high school, we lived in from Germany. We went to Michigan, Michigan to Utah, Utah to Texas, Texas to Florida, Florida to Colorado. So
Wow,
Colorado's where I went to high school. So that's kind of where I call home.
that's awesome.
So
That's a heck of a story. And then obviously you were a great ball player, and you wound up going to Clemson.
I did well. Actually, first coming out of high school, actually had more football offers than I did baseball, and wound up. My plan was to go to the Air Force Academy and play both football and baseball.
Wow.
And it was really probably about 2 weeks before I had to report to the academy, and just decided that we had housed my father was actually the athletic trainer for the academy baseball team. So we used to have a lot of the cadets come over to our house and stay with us, and so I got the ins and outs of the academy, but decided about 2 weeks before I had to report that I just didn't want to do that. Actually wound up going to a junior college in Colorado at Otero Junior College in La Junta, Colorado for 2 years, and then transferred to Clemson.
Playing ball in Colorado, though.
Yes,
Football and
yes,
baseball?
yeah. Once I went to junior college, I just played baseball,
Gotcha.
which was probably for me the best thing that I ever did. Just coming out of high school, I was, I was more built for at that time for football. And I was like 225 or 230 pounds or whatever, and was just not in baseball shape. So those 2 years at junior college really allowed me to kind of like hone what I needed to do to be successful in the game of baseball.
Sure, absolutely. Okay, so now you go to Clemson. You play at Clemson. You play at a pretty high level. It was your
Yeah,
senior.
no, I actually the first year I was at Clemson, I didn't, I was played sparingly, and but did learn a lot. I played for a guy who was an old timer. He's passed away now, and Bill Wilhelm. He was there for 36 years, and the assistant coach my first year was Jack Leggett, and then Jack took over as the head coach my senior year. Well, he and I got along, really, really well. I just flourished under him. He knew me and knew what kind of, he really brought out the best in me. So I did have a really good senior year. Even in my junior year, I was playing first base and right field and kind of bouncing around. And then my senior year is when I started playing third base.
Incredible.
So
That's when you made
ended up being an
All-American?
All-American.
All-American.
Sorry.
That's when you made All-American your senior year?
Yes. Yeah.
Incredible.
Yeah.
So now from there, you wind up getting drafted by the Cincinnati Reds in the fourth round.
Right. Right.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Absolutely amazing. Like, take me through the phases of that.
Yeah. No. Well, back then we didn't have all the social media and all that kind of stuff. And to be honest with you, it was one of those things where I didn't even know that I was drafted in the fourth round until I got a call from a reporter that told me that I was drafted in the fourth round.
No way.
I didn't even talk to the scout at that time. So, but just to kind of a little bit of a side note, we just had our bullpen banquet here at St. John's this past weekend. So, CJ Nikowski, who played at St. John's, was supposed to be our MC. He actually wound up not being able to come because he had back surgery last week. But so what my plan is, and what I'm hoping to do is for next year is have CJ as our MC. I had called and spoke with Aaron Boone, who was a teammate of mine in the minor leagues with the Reds.
Wow.
I invited him this year, but he had a family function, so I'm hoping that he can come next year, and myself. So that would actually be 3 of the top 4 picks in 1994, because
Are you kidding?
CJ Nikowski was the first pick, Booney was the 3rd, and I was the 4th.
Wow, that's really neat. Very, very neat. Really cool. Yeah. That's cool that you get along with him.
Yeah, no, they're. Hey,
are you a Yankee
baseball,
fan?
There's usually just a couple degrees of separation when it comes to baseball. Sure. You can, you pretty much played against somebody or played with somebody that all over.
Absolutely. Are you a Yankee fan?
I like the Yankees. Actually, I'm a really good friend with Matt Blake, the pitching coach there. I've known Matt for a long time. When I used to recruit some of his kids out of Massachusetts. So, I mean, my son's a Yankee fan. I mean, yeah. I think he kind of bounces between the Mets and the Yankees. So, my son's 10 years old, so he's he's right in the thick of things.
Yeah, for sure. That's really great. All right. So you get drafted. You ultimately wind up being with the Reds for a couple seasons?
About four seasons
in the minor leagues.
Yeah, and then wound up getting hurt. I was actually playing the outfield at the time. Dove for a ball and smashed 3 of my vertebrae and rehabbed it. Was trying to come back, just never was able to swing the bat and play like I really knew how to. So wound up somewhat retiring, and then went back to Clemson to actually finish up my degree. So I finished up my undergrad, and Jack Leggett obviously was the head coach at the time. He had a position open up and offered me it's kind of like the volunteer position at Clemson. So it really was great because Jack was the head coach. Tim Corbin, who's now the head coach at Vanderbilt, was the hitting coach, and Kevin O'Sullivan, who's now the head coach at Florida, was our pitching coach, and It was me. So it was an unbelievable staff, and learned so much during my time there.
That's great. So that got your foot in the door, and then ultimately from there you wound up going to West Virginia University. Yes,
coached in the summer down in the Coastal Plain Leagues right after my first year at Clemson, and then wound up getting a job with West Virginia, and actually finished my master's degree while I was there at West Virginia in those 2 years, and got a good experience there. Was able to get out and do some recruiting and stuff like that, and then after those 2 years, was able to meet up with Coach Blankmeyer up here at St. John's, and he offered me the job up here.
That's awesome. So then you've been here with St. John's for quite a while.
Yes, like I said, since August of 2001, which, again, like I had never lived in New York. The only thing I knew about New York was like Law and Order and stuff like that I had seen on TV. So, hey, because I think it was easy for me because we moved around so much as I was growing up.
Yeah.
Those transitions were pretty easy. Now, again, I got here August 15 of 2001. We know what happened in about 3 weeks after I got here in 9/11. So just an unbelievable, terrible situation, but watching how everybody came together during that time to see New York and the people of New York I can tell you St. John's, within an hour of that happening, Carnesecca Arena had hundreds of cots and was ready for anybody that needed a place to stay.
That's great. Yeah, it was nice seeing everybody come together during that time, and it's something I wish we did a lot more often. That's for sure.
Yeah.
All right, so now you're here for 18 years. You're the hitting coach. You were actually the recruit coordinator as well.
Yeah, I did. I was the recruiting coordinator and hitting coach, um, during that time. And then when Coach Blankmeyer retired in January of 2020, which wound up being, just a couple few months before COVID hit,
Right.
I took over as the head coach.
Awesome. Can you talk me through the recruiting process for kids in high school that might want to know what you're looking for in an athlete, in a ball player? How did they
Sure.
get your attention?
Yeah, no, I mean, hey, when we go out, obviously we have, I have pitching coach and a hitting coach now that goes out and basically we go out looking for what our needs are going to be.
Right.
However, we just go out and we're looking for athletes, looking for guys that play the game the right way, guys that hustle, that go out there and have some talent, but really it's more trying to find baseball players, because with the way that with the way that baseball is set up right now, you don't really get to see too many baseball players because it's showcase baseball. You see how hard guys throw. Well, that doesn't. You could throw really hard, but can you get outs? Or can you throw strikes and get outs? Guys run really fast, but can you steal a base when needed?
Absolutely.
They can hit a ball a mile and have 105 exit velocity, but can you stay back on a breaking ball and get a 2-out hit, when your team needs you?
Absolutely.
So, it's, again, it takes some time. It really, it's really tough, and I know that some schools do it, but, what we try to do from especially a position standpoint, we like to see kids multiple times and even pitching wise too. I mean, because kids have bad days or good days or something like that. You want to try to get multiple looks at these guys and see what they have.
Absolutely. So if you're giving them any sort of advice, if a freshman in high school is saying to you, "Hey, Mike, what am I going to do here? Like, what should I do to stand out? Are there like places I should go to try to train? Anything like that, advice wise,
Right.
what are you telling them?"
Yeah. Yeah. There's a lot of teams out there. Obviously there's some a little bit more well-known teams than others. But again, just playing baseball. I mean, we go to a lot of tournaments. During the summertime is our main recruiting time. We don't get out a whole lot
Right.
in the springtime because guess what? We're playing too. We got a 56 game schedule that we're out and about. So during the summertime is really when we do a lot of our recruiting. But I guess if there's one thing, it's just to keep on playing and just try to hone in on your skills. Again, it's not. Yes, you're looking for some talent, how hard you throw and stuff like that, but it's got to be, we're looking for baseball players and athletes. Now, that being said, what I would suggest is guys play multiple sports as a freshman. Play multiple sports because you're going to get if you play basketball, if you play football or whatever, soccer.
Mhm.
Each one of those sports has something that can help you with your athleticism.
I agree. I like that. I like that a lot. Have you ever recruited a major leaguer?
Yes. Actually, I don't even know what the number is. I mean, I think since there was something on Twitter that just came out a little while ago. I think since 2002, we've had at St. John's like 67, 68 guys signed professionally, and
Wow.
I would say that we at least have maybe I don't know, 8 to 10 to a dozen guys that have made it to the big leagues.
That's awesome. Do you know
Um,
anybody off the top of your head?
well, Joe Panic. Joe Panic is the most recent that just retired recently. Actually, Gavin Hollowell just got called up last year from with the Rockies. Um, Matt Caracity just re-signed with the Rockies. He had played with the Rockies and then got injured and re-signed with the Rockies. We've had Scott Barnes made it up to the big leagues with the Indians. Danny Barrow with the Yankees. I know I'm forgetting. Cody Stashak. I'm trying to think what team Cody played for. Anthony Vivaro made it up with the Mariners and played with the Braves and then with the Red Sox. I'm sure, being from this area, you guys know Anthony Vivaro.
Yeah, for sure.
Craig Hansen was a first rounder with Boston. I know, again, Rob Delaney. Rob Delaney made it up with the Twins. So I don't know. I don't even know what the count is right now. And
That's great. That's really
but yeah,
wild.
quite a few.
Yeah, that's great.
Actually, Frankie Schwindel. Frankie Schwindel was one of the latest ones too that was up with the Cubs.
Wow,
So
that's
just
really wild.
signed with the yeah.
You got a good recruiting record, that's for sure. What what did you learn from Ed Blankmeyer that might have helped you transition to your head coaching role?
Well, yeah, you know what? I mean, it's funny because he was just at that bullpen banquet that we had this past weekend, and you know, one of the sayings that he always has is, if you want to be a good coach, get good players. So it's about recruiting. It's about recruiting. But you know, I mean, hey, I learned a lot from Ed, and you know, Coach is a great mentor and a friend of mine, and I speak to him all the time. You know, he and I still communicate all the time. You know, one of the things I think that he's always said, and I think is important, is that, you know, coach players like you want to be coached.
Absolutely.
You know, I mean, hey, sometimes you do have to, you know, maybe raise your voice or whatever, and you know, get a little bit more out of them. But a lot of times it's patting them on the butt and you know, giving them support to be able to, you know, do what they need to do to be successful. You know, really putting them in a position to be successful.
Right. No, that's terrific, and I agree with you completely. I wanted to preview the baseball season, if you don't mind. Any players to look out for from you guys? What are you thinking coming into this year? How are you feeling?
Yeah, I mean, last year or so we had quite a few injuries, which hopefully we're out of that realm. We have guys that are coming back, and still we have probably two of our best, or a couple of our best pitchers that we won't get until about week 2 or 4 or something like that. Tyler Roche is a local kid out of the Bronx that going to be a really special kid. He's going to play professional baseball. We have another kid who was a freshman last year that got injured that's still coming back, is Xavier Kohlhasser. He's out of Ketchum High School. We got a kid named Sonny Fauci, who is probably going to wind up being being our Friday guy initially, and hopefully he's ready to go. From a position standpoint, we have some older guys that I think are seasoned enough to really have good seasons. We have a kid named David Glancy, who is going to be our center fielder. He's I think he had like 14 or 15 home runs last year.
Wow.
We had our first team All Big East shortstop in Kevin Michaels. He's back, and then Tate Ballestero, who was a second team All Big East. He played third base last year. We're going to have him catch, which that's his main position. But because of some injuries and stuff like that, he wound up having to play third base. And then the kid that got hurt last year was Marty Higgins, who was an All Big East performer the year before, and wound up missing last year. Had surgery on his left arm or left shoulder.
He's okay coming into this year now.
Yeah, no, it's knock on wood, we're hanging in there, and I mean, you never know with injuries and stuff like that, but
Sure.
we're hoping that everybody can stay healthy.
Absolutely. It's going to be a fun year either way. I really appreciate your time and everything that you're sitting here speaking with me. I wish you nothing but luck. We're going to be following your season. We'll definitely be in touch. So thank you so much for everything. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me, Anthony.